everyone, and welcome to Damn You Hollywood, where two guys yell about movies. I don't know. I don't have a clever intro this week, I'm sorry. Not that any of the others were necessarily clever, but I at least could pretend. This week, nah, not so much. I'm Robert Winfrey, here with Mark Radulich. Mark?
Hello!
Wow, that was more enthusiastic than I expected.
You know, Jesse's had to put up with me for being either super silly or whining that I'm tired or just being delirious. I figure I need to straighten myself up out for you because you're not gonna tolerate no nonsense. So I got my game face on. Hello.
No, I tolerate a lot of nonsense. Have you not heard the other shows I do?
You tolerate a lot of nonsense from me, but not tonight, sir, not tonight. Actually, speaking of nonsense, I got a question for you. Before we get into Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, the movie in which we will be reviewing in its entirety tonight here on Damn You Hollywood on the Radulich In Broadcasting Network. Ding ding, opening shtick, here we go. Speaking of ding dang, what's your issue with Creed? Like, why?
Why what?
I don't... Look, I think it's entirely low-hanging fruit to me to just call you a racist and say you don't want to watch Creed because you hate black people. Because as funny as that would be to me...
Low-hanging fruit and horribly inaccurate.
Well, of course it's inaccurate. That's what makes it funny to me. Ladies and gentlemen, despite my insistence... Rob Winfrey and, for that matter, Ronnie Adams are not really racist, but it's really funny to me that I keep calling them that anyway. So, taking the fact that you don't hate black people out of the equation, what's your real issue with Creed, given the amount of dreck I've made you review in the past few years?
All right. I didn't like Creed, first of all.
You saw
Outside
it?
of... Sort of. I don't want to get into the whole thing. Outside...
Okay.
Look, there was a whole thing around it. It's just not worth getting into at the moment. There was a lot of extraneous stuff that is utterly immaterial. Point being, I didn't care for it.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of Sylvester Stallone's performance, which was good and should actually have been the closing note on that character. He really should have died at the end. He really should have. But... sadly, not so much. People keep telling me Michael B. Jordan is a good actor. And I've seen bits and pieces of it, but for some reason, in anything Michael B. Jordan is in, he only ever gives like 3 facials. Now, this is not to say that he is only capable of 3 facial expressions. He's not. He's capable of a wide array of them. But in any movie, it's like, okay, 3. I don't know if it's some error in his programming and he's a robot. I don't know if it's the director.
Okay, hang on.
But he's got 3.
I didn't think his performance in Black Panther was particularly limited. I thought he gave... I mean, I'm not going to say, he has the range of a Cate Blanchett or anything, but I thought he gave a dynamic performance. Sure.
Because one of the facial expressions was psycho eyes.
Okay.
You were calm and collected. In that one, you had calm and collected, you had psycho eyes, and you had moderately melodramatic.
Do you not like urban-centered stories? I mean, I often joke about The Wire being the best TV show in the history of humanity, and that might be overstating it just a bit. But is your issue with statements like that the fact that you just don't find a lot of interest in the urban story?
I don't know. I'm not entirely sure where my personal enjoyment and assessment of such lies at the moment. I don't really have an issue with The Wire. I like poking back at you because it makes you go crazy.
Yeah, no. I'm not even having that debate with you. But the thing of it is I oversell it because I tend to be, and I'll admit this about myself, I tend to be drawn towards the urban story, and the urban black character. That's just how I'm wired. It was a part of my upbringing, which I'm not going to get into now. But it's about where I grew up. It's about the things that interested me as a kid and how it evolved as I became an adult. And I happen to like the urban black street story. I'm attracted to it, and maybe I tend to elevate it over other things of equal value. But I'm not.
It's part of your. It's part of your. It's part of your what you enjoy personally, and I don't take any. I don't take issue with it. It's what you enjoy.
Right, but I think by the same token, you seem to. And again, it's very easy for me to make fun of you for this, but I'm trying to have almost a serious discussion, believe it or not. So it seems to me like you.
I just personally don't care for those types of stories generally. Like, setting aside the fact that I'm not a racist, if we just talk about what types of stories I enjoy.
I would say you're more negative about the urban. I don't know if it's the urban black character or is it the urban story, but you're definitely more negative about those things than most of the other genres I think that we talk about outside of the more obvious ones. I don't think you're big into romance either, but how often do we talk about that?
Of those two, I generally think it's more urban than any ethnicity associated with said urbanity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like cities, just generally speaking. I am not a big city individual. I don't care for them. Now, my issues with Creed, again, since we want to bring this up specifically as it pertains to this, again, I didn't care much for the first one, and there's a variety of reasons, some of which are valid, some of which are not. But I didn't care for the boxing sequences all that much, in all honesty. I was not the biggest fan of Michael B. Jordan's performance, but I know he's a good actor. I've not seen him ever really string together a complete, nuanced performance. That being said, I have not seen the totality of his filmography, so I'm not passing total judgment on his abilities necessarily. But if that was going to be it, fine. I was kind of okay with that being it, as such. I didn't care for it, but c'est la vie. Creed 2, and after seeing the trailer, I stand by this, is only going to work as a parody. The only way this movie makes sense is if it's if it takes itself seriously, but is in fact a parody of everything related to the boxing world and boxing films. That's really the only way it's going to work. I think it might work, and if I see it, I expect to be laughing my ass off the entire time.
I guess here's where I'm stuck, and where I need you to kind of unstuck me.
Okay.
Is we've reviewed a lot of nonsense, and we will continue to review nonsense as the years go forward, or until you throw your hands up and say, I've had all I can stand, and I can't stand no more. That being said, you rose a particular stink about this one. And as I look back at all this stuff that we've reviewed and all the stuff we're going to review, and that you're even begrudgingly willing to go with, why does this one stick in your craw so much? What is the difference between this one and the rest of the ones you don't want to review also, but you're willing to anyway?
I don't like parody. As a general rule, not my favorite style of film, or not even film, just parodies. They're not really my favorite thing.
This isn't purposefully a parody, though.
I don't care. That's the only way I'm going to be able to watch it.
Okay.
Alternatively, come on. The central conflict is going to be the son of Apollo Creed against the son of Ivan Drago.
Yeah.
You're going to try and sell me that with a straight face.
I'm excited about it. I think that's...
Of course you are. You like nonsense.
This is the most ridiculous thing I've heard in a long time. I can't believe it took this long to come to fruition.
And here's the other thing that bothers me. There's two things that bother me, I think, about Creed, and really a lot of combat sports centric movies, be that boxing or kickboxing or whatever. I now know too much. Now, this is true about the basic physics and science of a lot of movies. There's a few things I have about Fallen Kingdom that I want to bring up. Oh, no, we've released dinosaurs into the world. Spoiler. Yeah, they couldn't actually survive.
Yeah, I want to talk about that too, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
There's a lot of stupidity there. But there's also a lot of specific stupidity that I'm ignorant of, and that can kind of that can let me kind of enjoy things. I watch and deal with so much of the crap related to combat sports. Movies about it are not interesting to me.
Okay. See, I'll accept that. Because in short, what you just said was, hey, man, I have to review a combat sports fighting show almost on a weekly basis. I don't particularly want to watch a bad movie about one. I'm going to pass. See, that I get.
Yeah. And really, I can't help but feel that there has to be at some point in that movie him actually saying, "I'm going to avenge the death of my father," because it has to be that stupid. That's the only way this could possibly go forward.
God, I hope so. I hope
again.
I mean, he's wearing the American flag shorts. If he doesn't come out with the beard and the hat and living in America, I might walk out of the movie.
It's just gotten too stupid, and sadly plays entirely too much with. I mean, look, if we lived in a world where the Rocky movies had actually transpired in real life, all right, if there had actually been. Bear with me for just a second here. If there had actually been a professional boxers like Rocky and Apollo, and everything that they had done had actually happened, and the illegitimate son of Apollo Creed started fighting, and you had the son of Ivan Drago, yeah, you bet your ass Don King would sell, the vacuous soul of someone else, because he doesn't have one, to promote that. It would be in bad taste, it would be horribly maligned, and it would do gangbusters at the box office. And I know that happens, all right? If the son of Ray Mancini goes into boxing, you bet somebody's going to try and sell a fight between him and the son of Dooku Kim. And it's in bad taste, and it would be maligned, and it would probably sell okay, because people suck. I really just have zero interest in seeing an on-screen pseudo-serious parody of what I wade in on a relatively daily basis. Okay. It holds absolutely no interest for me, and that's nothing against anyone involved, apart from the writer, who should know better.
I accept your reasoning for not wanting to see Creed 2, so I will tap Ronnie Adams, Andrew Graham, and Jason Teasley for that show.
A 4-man show.
Yeah, because apparently I know people are listening, because I didn't put an announcement or anything on Facebook. It's fucking June, and this isn't going to happen until December. But people obviously listen to our show, because immediately after that, I started getting messages separately from people going, "I'll be on your Creed show. Can I get in your Creed show? I'd love to do your Creed show." And I was like, all righty. So, yes, I'm going to replace you with 3 other people. How does that sound?
Right. If you need 3 other people to equal what I bring, then I'll take that as a backhanded compliment.
Absolutely. You absolutely equal 3 people. All right.
No. In this context. It takes 3 other people to exacerbate you as much as I do.
Ain't that the truth? All right, speaking of exacerbating, Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom. How about you tell us about it, sir?
Well, it's a movie.
Good night, everybody.
All right. On a more serious note, again, I kind of spoiled the ending a little bit, but...
Really? Was anyone really surprised by that ending?
If you didn't see that coming, I don't know what to tell you. You must have either dozed off, or you have suffered some kind of chemical or head trauma that has caused short-term memory loss, because it was so obvious.
I have to wonder. That's now the second time in 2 shows that you said, if you didn't know X, then I seriously think you have brain damage or whatever. And I often wonder, do people hear this show and go, "I don't have brain damage. Shut up."
No one's ever complained about me about me drawing those types of conclusions.
Just wondering, Just I didn't know, I really didn't see it coming. Shut up, you're mean. Yeah, all right. Plot synopsis, go.
I called every step of the plot of Luke Cage, too. Well, season 1, at least I haven't seen season 2
We
yet.
get it. You hate black people. Go.
I don't hate black people. We've established this.
Okay.
I'm just, again, just urban stories don't resonate with me, which, and I don't care if it's a white cast. If it's an urban story, I am less interested. That's just who I am. By contrast, I love Westerns. Mark hates them. We all like different things.
You know what else I also hate? Wasting time. Go.
No, you don't.
Talk. Talk, monkey, talk.
All right. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, set 3 years after the events of Jurassic World. We get the evil corporation, goes unnamed, but is under the auspices of the Lockwood estate, who was apparently the partner of John Hammond, who everyone forgot about until just now for the sake of plot convenience. They are retrieving some of the remains of the Indominus Rex because evil genetic manipulation. They are successful at the cost of a couple of lives. The Mosasaurus eats the submersible, which is great. They are attacked on the mainland, but manage to escape. There's the stupid psych out that everyone should have seen coming. Sorry, that's 2 of my 3, I know. Guy gets eaten by Mosasaurus. Because we have the footage of him jumping out of the water, we might as well use it. But this transitions to the great debate about should we let the dinosaurs go extinct again because the island is about to undergo massive volcanic eruption. And one of the leads from the previous movie, Bryce Dallas Howard, I forget her character's name because who cares? Nobody's character names matter in this movie. Like, that's not a shot at her. Just none of them matter. Claire something, I think. Yeah, Claire. All right. She is now very much save the dinosaurs, and we get Jeff Goldblum being... I mean, I imagine that Jeff Goldblum just randomly showed up to the Houses of Congress, and they just decided to shoot this and then sell it as footage to the studio.
Like he just walked in and he was like, "I'd like to warn you about the dinosaurs," and they're like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Can we get some selfies with Jeff Goldblum? Yes, but I want to tell you about the dinosaurs. Yeah. That's fine. Come on in.
I mean, I actually really love the fan theory that the ruler of Sakaar in Thor Ragnarok was just Ian Malcolm after he'd been sucked through a wormhole. Just made me laugh. So anyway, he is advocating, yes, just let them die. God, we have screwed up enough when it comes to this cloning and bringing things back. We really need to let this self-correct and try not to continue screwing things up because we screw things up. His argument is persuasive enough to the people of I don't know if it was Congress or the Senate, but whoever they were, one of those two, for them to kind of go, we're not going to encourage or sanction any major sort of we believe the government should not be involved in private property, especially private property that's not necessarily, it's not even like United States soil. We're not comfortable getting involved in this. We're going to let it go. All the environmentalists go sad face, which is, I imagine, their natural state of being. But Claire is contacted by reclusive billionaire farmer James Hoggett. I mean, sorry, I can never see that guy and not think of that'll do, pig. Lockwood, forget his first name, don't care. Who wants to save the dinosaurs? He feels some sort of moral responsibility. It's never actually explained. But his motivation is never sufficiently explained. But he has this weird kind of toady money manager, attorney. Just call him Iago. All right, we'll call him Iago. It's a Shakespeare joke. No one gets it. It's all right.
I honestly thought you meant the parrot from Aladdin, and I was struggling.
Parrot from Aladdin is a direct reference to the character from Othello.
Okay, smarty.
Again, it's a Shakespeare joke. Your wife would get it.
I don't know. You want me to call her and ask her?
Nah, ask her later and then tell me that my jokes are just it's just not funny. It's all right. Don't worry about it. I bring that up simply because he is like barely given a name, and his defining feature is that he wears a 3-piece suit. Like, there's horribly bad characterization in this film. And I'll complain about it later. But anyway, they are funding a rescue mission for the dinosaurs. They have another island. We're going to move them to the new island, and we're going to leave them alone, and things will go better. The pristine Earth will rise from the ashes. I don't know. It's stupid, but that's their plan. But they need someone who can track down the last raptor on the island, which is blue, and the only one who can do this is Chris Pratt.
His name is Owen, by the way.
Star-Lord.
Terrific.
All right, Andy Dwyer's out building a cabin. I've never even seen that show, and I know that joke. Because he and Claire broke up at some point in the intervening years because we can't write people in happy relationships. We don't know how to do it. We're from Hollywood, and none of us have a happy relationship. She convinces him to come back and help them rescue Blue. He doesn't really want to at first, but then gets all nostalgic and decides, sure, why not? Shows up. They go to the island. They find Blue, only to have evil Ted Levine turn on them. Again, this is another twist you all should have seen coming a mile away. And the requisite... So one of my favorite scenes comes out of that. Yeah, anyway, so they are turned on by, again, evil Ted Levine, who leads... Ted Levine's always the bad guy. I feel so bad for him. As they are removing the dinosaurs, our plucky heroes manage to escape their various perils and sneak onto the ship. The animals are then transported back to the Lockwood estate, where the guy who played Armin Zola, but is here doing a very obvious Donald Trump impression, are planning to auction off a bunch of them to generate funds for the development of the Mark Radlich's favorite thing in the world, the perfect hybrid soldier raptor. It's a hybridized creature, a mix of the Indominus Rex and a basic raptor. So it's really a T-Rex with more raptor in it, because they used raptor to create the Indominus Rex to begin with. But they need Blue's genetic profile because she is slightly unique and was able to actually kind of bond and respond with people rather than just try to eat them. And then they need Blue alive to kind of mother the thing so that there's behavioral traits that would be passed on. I maintain this is all part of a large plot to create a slew of genetic creatures that all see Chris Pratt as God so that he can just rule the earth. He's actually the villain, and it's going to be revealed in the 5th movie.
It was me, Claire. It was me the whole time.
All along. And everyone in the wrestling memes.
That never gets old.
Anyway, that's their plan. So during the course of the auction... Claire and Owen get captured somewhere along the way, because you always do. We discover that the evil money manager is in fact evil and has these plans. B.D. Wong shows up because it's in his contract. That's all I got for his involvement, and he survives at the end of this. It's crazy. During the auction to sell off all of these animals, they show off what do they call it? The Indoraptor. They want to show it off and then say, okay, but this is just a prototype. There's too many kinks that we haven't worked out. Next model will be good. And everyone goes, no, I want that. Because I actually kind of liked his explanation of why. I'm not going to make a joke about that, actually. It is sold off, but in the process of all of this, our plucky heroes have in fact escaped, turned loose a small dinosaur that wreaks some havoc. The Indoraptor gets loose. There's a chase scene. There's a few casualties racked up. There's tension. Underscoring all of this, this pertains to Lockwood, is his granddaughter, who's actually a clone of his daughter. Kind of running around and screwing things up because she's a kid and that's what kids do. They were able to stop the Indoraptor in a highly implausible sequence. But during the course of all of this, there was an explosion. There's a bunch of chemicals being released into the holding area where the other dinosaurs are being kept, and they're going to choke to death on toxic fumes. So Claire decides, no, I can't just watch them die. I mean, you should just watch them die because you're not on an island. You're now in California somewhere, I think is where they were located. I forget exactly. And she decides, no, I can't do it. So they pause and they all kind of gather up, but no one's following one of the rules. There's a very basic rule for circumstances like this. If you're in a group with a button, a singular button, mind you, that can unleash a plague or missile strikes or horrible information to the world, whatever, you have someone in your group who is assigned to watch the most impulsive / dumbest person in the group to stop them from pushing the button. Independent of actual group. Again, if the group comes to that decision, whatever. But you have someone watching the impulsive / stupid person who will just push the button because they want to push the button. No one's watching the kid. The kid pushes the button because she feels clone kinship, which is the dumbest thing ever. I enjoyed this movie up until the ending. I'm going to warn everybody about that. Dinosaurs are released into Northern California, where the state assembly will debate them for 6 months because California can't actually get anything done. It's the worst run state in the union. Jeff Goldblum goes back to Congress to say, hey, I warned you, you screwed it up again. And deliver the infamous welcome to Jurassic World as dinosaurs start spreading out into North America, and the Mosasaurus got out earlier. So now there's a giant Mosasaurus eating surfers, even though it wouldn't, because we're not actually worth the caloric intake. The caloric output to consume a human for something that big is not actually worth it. It would be eating whales. And we're set up for another sequel because while the evil money manager died and after killing Lockwood, B.D. Wong's character escaped again, and now we have dinosaurs running amok, so we'll have more of that. In fact, there's apparently there's a flock of pterodons around the Eiffel Tower replica in Las Vegas, because that won't go poorly for anyone. All right. Again, I glossed over some things. There's anything that you thought I kind of gave short shrift to there, Mark?
No, I mean, I think you pretty much nailed it. I mean, there's a small action sequence where a decent part of the movie is made up of them having no more use for Owen and just stranding him and Claire on the island that is erupting all around them, and them trying to secure their way off the island as stowaways and whatnot. And there's a lot of nonsense and chicanery and fun to be had. But you know, the main point of the movie is we got to get everybody back to the house, and at which point the movie becomes a horror movie. It just becomes, you know, monsters running around the house eating people. So let me give you my impressions of this movie. I don't have a tremendous amount to say about it. Let me just back up a second and tell you my thoughts on Jurassic Park. And if you're interested in more of this sort of thing, go check out the archives for our Long Road to Ruin review of the Jurassic Park trilogy. Where, you know, of course, obviously the first one was a tour de force of CGI and magic, and I think a lot of people are still stuck on that, and you'll find out more about that when we do the review section, when we do the Rotten Tomatoes section of the this podcast. But people, you know, at the time, Steven Spielberg does what he does, which is create movie magic, and just kind of watching my son and some other folks, I've never had a particular attachment to the idea or the being of dinosaurs, but obviously people do. People enjoy that sort of thing, and so watching a movie that makes it look like dinosaurs are real and are able to, you know, tromp and stomp around you is a real fun and fascinating thing.
As a kid who was obsessed with dinosaurs and wanted to be a paleontologist, yes, it was.
Yeah, I just wasn't affected by it. I mean, I enjoyed the CGI as much as anybody, and certainly the first Jurassic Park had a lot of magical moments in it, a lot of really fun and tense moments. You know, who can forget the the water bit, as the T-Rex starts to approach them and all of that. But the one that I found probably my favorite of the entire movies, and I'll tell you why in just a second, is last year's or 2 years ago's Jurassic World. Because for the same reason I enjoyed Jaws 3. I enjoy the idea of a theme park run amok. Do we need to do the thing where we pick on each other for what we like, or can we just?
No. I'm just surprised you brought up Jaws 3. That's all.
The reason Jaws 3 isn't the world's greatest movie, obviously, but
really, it's not.
Welcome to Damn You Hollywood. We'll really give you keen insight into the movies. No, but
Jaws 3 not good. Almost as bad as Jaws: The Revenge. In fact,
there's a distinctive thing about Jaws 3, though, that's the reason why I brought it up, and that is I like the idea of a theme park run amok. First of all, I like theme parks. But second of all, I like the idea of there being an active working theme park and things just go fucking haywire.
I suppose I know your favorite Simpsons episode then, don't I?
So when you have a movie like Jurassic World where the park is functional, the park is not only functional, but it's been in existence for quite some time, to the point that, and I love the cynicism of what they're saying here, that people got bored with the idea of living, breathing dinosaurs, such to the point that they felt like they had to create new attractions by merging dinosaur DNA and creating new monsters. I thought that was great. To me, that's the most brilliant part of the movie, given how cynical and wasting our society tends to be. It's like, oh look, we've created magic. Meh. What have you done for me lately? So when it was over, though, it made over $1 billion. So on the one hand, of course, it's going to have a sequel. Everything that's successful gets a sequel. That's just the way it is. On the other hand, I was like, really? At this point, what other story is there to tell? And when I saw the trailers for Fallen Kingdom, my heart was like, Jesus Christ, not again. We're going back to the island. And this is what 2 and 3 were about. We're dealing with the dinosaurs running around an island. And I'm like, this isn't fun for me. I don't enjoy this sort of thing. Obviously Jurassic Park 2 and 3 were not great. And so I figured Fallen Kingdom was going to be much the same. What I liked about Fallen Kingdom and what I thought was interesting about it was the setting takes place mostly in the mansion. So that was fun. At the end of the day, it's about monsters trying to eat people. And there's a deeper story. There's a deeper theme afoot here. There's a deeper message being told. But what you're seeing on screen, the bulk of the action on screen, is people running from monsters. So how do you keep that fresh and interesting and keep the viewer enticed? You got to change up the setting somewhat. So thankfully, they went with the haunted house version of this material, which I thought was interesting. Did I love it? No, not really. But then again, I wasn't that enthusiastic about this to begin with. But I did like the fact that they at least changed up the motif enough to where this was interesting. Now, the idea that they're trying to sell the dinosaurs as weapons and whatnot, they did this in Aliens, and they do this in a lot of movies, and it was like, it's going
to be a central theme of the upcoming Predator movie, which still looks like garbage.
So where that's concerned, I can see where a lot of critics were like, ugh, why they hated it. I'm like, I get it, I sympathize. But for the most part, and this is, again, I thought the actors gave competent performances. The CGI all looks pretty good. I like the atmosphere and the setting. It's an okay. I gave it a solid B. It's just okay.
All right, for a slightly different perspective, here's me. I wish this had been the sequel to Jurassic Park. I really do, because I don't care much for Lost World.
Yeah, 2 and 3 suck.
Yeah, and again, I thought Jurassic World was a mediocre cover song. This one, I think I enjoyed it more than a lot of people did in many respects. I think I enjoyed it because I wasn't, the writing is not all that good. Let's be clear about this. It's not all that interesting. The plot's incredibly predictable. I saw this with my mother and brother, and there's one scene when this actor's name is going to bother me until I figure it out. James Cromwell. Yeah, when James Cromwell's talking with, Maisie, I leaned over to my mom and I said, I bet you $20 she's a clone of his daughter.
You suck to go to the movies with.
I'm sorry. They telegraphed it really, really hard.
They did, but still, let people enjoy stuff.
No. 2 seats down was someone who wouldn't shut up every time something quasi-interesting happened on screen. They were gasping and, no, shut up. So, because I wasn't really interested or engaged in the... I knew the story, so I'm less concerned with the particulars of the narrative than I am the execution. And I found that much more interesting. The director here, J.A. Bayona, has a visual style that I find very intriguing. He has a lot of stuff that goes on in the background. You have to actually pay attention to what's going on screen. He has a very solid gift for visual storytelling. There's a lot of stuff that he's able to convey through, again, not gobs of dialogue, but the framing of a shot or the way characters happen to, interact briefly. You don't need gobs of dialogue. You have a, competent visual director. I mean, that scene at the end, when they're leaving the island and I think it was a brontosaurus, doesn't quite make the boat, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's visually very effective. And I love the way they shot it, with it kind of slowly, going into the steam and the fog and the smoke, and then you're just getting silhouettes, flashes of the silhouette as it dies. I like that. There's a lot of his visual style that appeals to me as a film goer. I really liked this movie up until the stupid ending. Because there's a few reasons I think it's a very stupid ending. One, I think the whole position of, we have to save them. No, we don't. I mean, this is one of the things I liked about the movie. It would have been very easy for this to be a preachy pseudo-environmentalist film. And it very clearly takes as my dog freaks out, takes a somewhat reticent / ambiguous perspective on what this means. This is not we must save them, everyone who wants them to die are evil. It's really not that at all. It's a nuanced debate. And the film, while it doesn't tackle that in any great detail, at least has the accuracy and integrity to treat it as a nuanced subject. It is not a black and white thing. I mean, sure, you have good guys and bad guys, but the subject is not that clear cut. And so again, at the end, when I feel clone kinship, they're alive just like I am. Like, no, you're a person. Those are not people. Those are dinosaurs. There's a reason that the whole ethics around human cloning does not extend to animals. Because there's a fundamental difference. Here, instead, we get, again, a bit of a false conflation. And then we get into if you just released them into the world, they wouldn't survive. There's not necessarily the amount of vegetation necessary to reliably sustain giant herbivores. I mean, the average temperature's lower. A good cold snap would kill them off, for crying out loud. So, again, there's your science bit with Robert as it pertains to this. Like, this wouldn't be a problem for as long as people tend to think it would be. Like, they wouldn't go out and multiply. There's a lot of issues. But again, it just bothered me in the sense that this was kind of like, we have to save the polar bears. No, we don't. 95% of all species, not individual life forms, species that have been on Earth have gone extinct. Stuff goes extinct all the time. A lot of it is simply unsuited when it comes out. It's a evolution that doesn't work, and so dies and is not passed on. The climate changes, which it has been doing since the beginning of the planet's existence. Things that were once adapted to survive no longer do. The environment is still changing, and that's not to say we should ignore it, but there's a real possibility that a lot of the species that currently exist don't get to, exist going forward. And new stuff will crop up in their place. I don't know why we view this as some kind of zero-sum game. But my issue with, elements of that aside, again, I liked it until that stupid ending. I liked a lot of the stuff in the mansion. I liked the more horror elements. I liked them hiding from the Indoraptor, throughout the various displays. The raptor creeping up on the little girl in her bed is incredibly creepy, as it should be.
I think my favorite bit is the guy trying to get the teeth out of him. And,
when it's playing with him.
Yes, and it cracks that smile. Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh yeah, that was great. I mean, I got a serious kick out of mostly drugged Chris Pratt trying to drag himself out of the path of lava. It struck the right, balance between humorous and, somewhat. I mean, again, they're not going to kill him, so there's no true tension in that respect. But there's enough tension in the sense that, oh boy, he's got to move, and I liked that. I liked a lot of the tonal stuff. I wish, certain characters had been better developed. I mean, I have a problem with Claire in the sense that she went from, pure capitalist basically in Jurassic World to, fairly extreme environmentalist in this one. Mm-hmm. Now I know she did actually have something of an arc in Jurassic World, what passed for an arc in that movie at least. But I feel like there was a couple of lines of dialogue somewhere that got cut that actually explained her current perspective instead of just dropping us into it. And kind of the same way about random three-piece suit guy. I feel like there was just something that either got cut in the writing room or got cut when they edited this together that kind of explained who he is as a character rather than random I like money.
Money, 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 money. Money, money,
don't get me wrong, greed's a perfectly acceptable motivating factor, but there has to be a key to why you're greedy. This is weird for me this is weird to say. Because there's a degree of greed in this that everyone has in the sense that we want things. The kind of greed that is, boy, I sure need an extra $200 million to fund my billion-dollar soldier dinosaur project. There's something else ticking there, and I think you need to actually acknowledge that. Otherwise, you wind up with an incredibly flat character, and they just decided to go with an incredibly flat character. But on the whole, this is probably my favorite of this franchise outside of the original. And that's, again, not to say it's the best outside of the original. I might make that argument, but I wouldn't. I think there's an argument that you can make in that respect, but I don't think it's clear-cut by any stretch of the imagination. But I enjoyed the majority of it until that stupid ending, which was also painfully obvious because, and there's a very specific reason it was painfully obvious. Because all over their trailers was Jeff Goldblum saying, "Welcome to Jurassic World." So if he doesn't say that in his first appearance, there's only two options. They either cut it, and to be fair, cutting stuff from the trailer that is in your trailer from the actual movie is not unheard of by any stretch of the imagination. Or he's got to go back and explain that, hey, they're out now, so you know what's coming. It's not hard. It's not hard to figure out. But, again, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, in all honesty. I was really really not expecting to enjoy this at all. But I think I wound up enjoying it more than, again, certainly more than Jurassic World, all things considered. Definitely more than The Lost World, and God help us, Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah, I here's the thing. There's some criticism out there about this movie being sort of a placeholder for more sequels, and it's going to have more sequels. It's wildly successful. It's already made its budget.
Look,
it's
can I just say that they also gave away the plot for the next couple of movies?
Well, that's what I was getting to. I'm much more interested in having and again, it's for the same reason I like the whole concept of a theme world of a theme park run amok. I want to see the movie that deals with the world that has to live with the dinosaurs. Now, I know you gave a whole explanation.
Just killed them. I mean, look, A, they're going to die on their own come winter.
But that's the thing. Dude, there are people who don't want you to kill wasps, who serve no purpose, okay?
There are stupid... Yeah, congratulations. There are stupid people out there.
Well, no, my point is, and I think that's what's going to make for a fun movie, is you're going to have your group out there that are going to... There's going to be the group that are going to want to just hunt them for game. These are the people...
We have to protect the I really want a scene, if we're going to go this route, where a bunch of protesters are, trying to, picket or, sit in front of a road that people take, that, a bunch of hunters are taking. I want them to protest, and then I want, the T-Rex to come out and stomp on them.
That's probably. But that's what you're going to see.
Nature is trying to kill you.
But that's going to be the fun of the next movie, is the world post, living dinosaurs in the wild.
We're just going to we're going to jump 20 years ahead. We're going to get Old Man Pratt, Old Woman Bryce Dallas Howard, and we're going to be living in Planet of the Apes, but with dinosaurs. It's going to be stupid.
I hope so, and I hope
that is so beyond stupid.
I hope they get Andy Serkis to play Caesar, and in the first scene of the movie, he comes in riding a raptor.
No, because he died. What you'd have to do is have him be the first. Oh God, I'm going to say something terrible.
Are you going to put one of my dumb ideas out in the world?
Yeah, I am.
Here we go.
Okay. B.D. Wong has developed a strain of human-dinosaur hybrids, utilizing the material from Blue and Chris Pratt. So Andy Serkis plays the bastard offspring, essentially, of a human and a dinosaur.
We already have that. It's Killer Croc.
No one has Killer Croc.
All right, are you ready to move on?
He's never been in a movie.
I agree. You ready to move on with the next
thing?
No,
wait. He was technically in Suicide Squad, but that wasn't a movie.
Oh, that's the joke I thought you were making. All right.
No, I genuinely had forgotten that Suicide Squad existed.
You're probably better off for that. All right.
I was.
Here we go, folks. Here come the money.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money.
Dollar.
Oh boy, people. Do you think we're done with Jurassic World? No, we're not. This thing made all kinds of money. With a $170 million budget, see, that's how you do it, folks. You keep your budget under $200 million, and you even if it's moderately successful, you'll make money. Well, this thing is more than moderately successful worldwide as of this recording.
Can I just say how sad that is? We've reached a point where under $200 million is considered a reasonable budget.
Well, it's a lot of CGI. $729 million. This thing's going to make over I didn't think this was going to make over $1 billion. I didn't think there was that much buzz on this, but apparently Universal...
And this thing hit big worldwide.
Yeah, it did. People love them some dinosaurs, and they love Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard running from dinosaurs, and that's what you got, boy howdy. So... congratulations, Jurassic World. You ain't going nowhere. In 2 years, I'm sure we'll do Jurassic World 3, The Search for More Money.
Really, no, I hate that they kind of spoiled some of the next couple of movies because, again, we have Chris Pratt who's going to be revealed as the evil overlord now that all the dinosaurs are genetically coded to listen to him. And then that leads us to the one where they have to go back in time and convince John Hammond not to play God. It was a literal line from the villain in this.
Well, June 8th to June 10th, Ocean's 8 was the number one movie of the weekend. Then that was surpassed by The Incredibles. And, of course, The Incredibles was surpassed this week by Jurassic World. The weekend breaks down like this. Jurassic World, number 1. Incredibles, number 2. Ocean's 8, number 3. Tag, number 4. Deadpool didn't go anywhere. It stayed at 5. Solo, A Star Wars Story, fell from 4 to 6. Oh, poor Lucasfilm. Hereditary, apparently...
and Fallen Kingdom is probably going to surpass Black Panther.
Hereditary stayed the same at number 7. Everyone's saying it's the best horror movie out there right now. Superfly...
Low bar to clear, but...
Superfly, I'm sure Robert's going to run out and go see. Fell from 6 to 8.
Not even aware it was a movie.
Avengers Infinity War fell from 8 to 9. And Won't You Be My Neighbor is still, I'm telling you, man, it's finding more theaters because it's going
It is
up.
slowly expanding. I was incredibly pissed when I discovered that for a while it looked like I was going to have to drive an hour to see that, and quite frankly, I wasn't sure it was going to be worth it. Turns out next week one of my local theaters is actually going to be showing it, so I get to go see that, which makes me happy.
No, I'll try to go see it too, and maybe we'll throw up an extra show. We'll do some bonus content.
We can talk about grown men weeping openly in a theater.
Speaking of grown men, grown women talking about 50 Shades fell from 10 to 11. Rampage.
What happened to Andy Garcia, man?
Rampage went from 23 to 12 for some odd reason and opened in a bunch more theaters.
Look. Some place like India or China that have very strict censorship controls finally approved it.
Gotti, which has a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes, which makes me want to go see it, fell from 11 to 13.
Mark, we're going to go see we have a couple of genuinely terrible movies on the schedule for this year, not even getting into next year.
Halfway Decent Girl Sails a Boat fell from 9 to 14. Overboard, 19 to 15.
Can I spoil that movie for people? Because it's real. Even if you haven't seen it, it's really, really obvious.
No one listening to this show cares about Adrift, so go ahead.
Yeah, he's dead. He dies in the boat crash and is a hallucination for the rest of the movie.
Nice.
Obvious.
American Animals, 25 to 16. RBG stayed at 17. Breaking In, 20 to 18, Hearts Beat Loud, 24 to 19, and First Reformed, 22 to 20. So there's your top 20 for the weekend.
Well, that falls off a cliff after the top 15, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. Jurassic World, again, is sure to make $1 billion. I wasn't quite sure if it was going to clear it, but...
I can't...
when it does $700 million in its first week.
It would literally have to stop making money right now.
Yeah. No, it's...
It's probably going to surpass Black Panther.
Possibly. Speaking of Black Panther, here's where we stand for the year right now. Worldwide, because who cares just about the United States. Infinity War, obviously, is still number one with $2 billion, and that's not going anywhere anytime soon. Black Panther is at 1,300,000. Jurassic World is
$3 billion.
Yeah, what'd I say?
Million.
Oops, I'm off by a decimal point.
Pretty important decimal point. If Black Panther only made 1.3 million, we're
Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is 729 million. Deadpool 2, 707 million. So that's a win for Fox. Ready Player One staying steady at number 5. So finally, the top 5 movies in the world are all not Chinese. So
and Mark's xenophobia and racism is secure.
Yeah, that's right. Speaking of
really, accuse me of hating black people. You hate foreign films. You hate those Chinese Chinamen.
I do. Ready Player.
This is why neither of us will ever hold public office. This show right here.
Yep. Operation Red Sea and Detective Chinatown occupy the 6 and 7 spots. So that's that for the Red Chinese. The Incredibles.
It's funny because they're still communists.
The Incredibles is in the top 10. Good for Pixar at 449 million.
It's kind of soft. I mean, if that doesn't close, I mean, I think I said it last week. It would end, closer to the 700 million than a billion mark, but that's surprisingly soft.
Speaking of soft, 50 Shades Freeze at number 10, and prior to
limp.
and prior to that, Rampage is still hanging in there in the top 10 at number 9 with 423 million. Truly, the sad story here is Solo, a Star Wars story, at 354 million. That's going to be a huge loss for Lucasfilm this year. Doesn't mean the company's dead, as I said last week. It just means that
they're a subsidiary of Disney. They are not dead. They're just going to They're going to panic briefly.
I mean, they'll write this one off and they'll move on to the next thing. They still have
Look, they're going to delay the Obi-Wan movie. They're going to delay the Boba Fett movie. They're going to redo them, designed to please fanboys.
Yeah, they're still coming. Though the latest rumor has it that the Obi-Wan Kenobi film may end up just debuting on the Disney streaming thing, which that's an option. I mean, not every one of these needs to be a feature motion picture.
Much as I love going to the theater because I love the theater experience, provided there's no one else in the theater. I hate people. This weird dichotomy where I love going to there are certain films that really need to be experienced on a big screen like that. They really do. And sadly, that usually entails sitting around other people. And I hate them.
So anyway, this weekend is nothing. Nothing of value is coming out. Though Glow Season 2 will be debuting on Netflix. So if you don't want to go to the movies, you can always do that. Now, if you're an Amazon Prime member and you've got kids, you can go get tickets to Hotel Transylvania 3 and see that over the weekend.
Boo.
But if you want to wait a couple of weeks, you can do that as well. The 6th of July is Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm sure that'll be somewhere in the top 10, probably a $500 million movie. Skyscrapers the 13th. Yeah, it's got The Rock in it.
I was excited about that. I really was.
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked at the director.
Okay.
And I just had to go, oh, you're the moron who did Central Intelligence, and we're the Millers, and I can't support your buffoonery.
There's nothing of value.
I mean, it's sad that the best thing he's done is probably Dodgeball.
Actually, let me go back a second, because I'm skipping this one just because I never saw the first one. But you know what? If you're looking to go to the movies this weekend, go see Sicario, Day of the Soldado, which is the second Sicario movie.
And I kind of liked the first Sicario. I like the unofficial trilogy that it's part of. Because you have Sicario, and then you have Hell or High Water, which is great. One of my favorite movies the year it came out. And Wind River, which is actually where Hawkeye was during the events of Infinity War.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Because Jeremy Renner.
Gotcha.
And Wind River is also great. Great movies. I'm less sold on the sequel here because I don't know, man. The trailers don't give me a lot of hope for it to be something other than a essentially bad remake of The Man from Nowhere, which I happen to profoundly enjoy because, unlike Mark, I'm not a xenophobe and I like Korean film.
Ant-Man and the Wasp comes out July 6th, as I said before. July 4th, you can set off fireworks and watch white people kill black people in the first Purge.
Oh God, I am so sick of those movies. They'll keep making them because they'll keep making money. But what started as just a moderately inventive, not even all that inventive. That's hardly a unique position or a unique setup. But it's certainly not one that had been used all that frequently. It's set up for a decent enough home invasion slasher film. Has now morphed into, boy, do I get to preach about my political perspectives. I hate you.
And as I said, the Friday the 13th, we've got Hotel Transylvania 3, Summer Vacation, and Skyscraper. On the 20th, now I don't have anything listed because I'm not going to go see any of these, but in case you're interested, you've got The Equalizer 2, Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, and Unfriended Dark Web. And then we're back to things that I care about. Friday, July 27th is Mission Impossible Fallout.
No. Do not lie about that. You do not care about Mission Impossible Fallout. You're going to see it. You do not care.
Fair enough. And for those of you with kids, Teen Titans Go to the Movies, which my kids are all excited for. My wife actually thought the trailer was hilarious. And then on Friday, August 3rd, you've got The Darkest Minds, Disney's Christopher Robin, Searching, and The Spy Who Dumped Me. So that's all that's coming out in the theaters for the next month.
Only one of those is any interest, and thankfully it's the one we're seeing.
Well, like I said, Jurassic World, the reason why I bring all that up, obviously, like I do every week, is, how does this eat into, how much of any of this eats into Jurassic World? How much of it prevents it from making $1 billion? The only real competition it's got is Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, that's really it.
Everything else is, people will go see some of this stuff, but meh. And it's a couple of weeks even before Mission Impossible comes out, which is the only other big-time, big-ticket movie that could possibly eat into that audience. So by that point, I'm sure Jurassic World will be somewhere in the 900 millions, if not $1 billion. All right, sir, I have a question for you.
Do you now?
Are you ready? No! I said, are you ready?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Shenane, Drury of Culturists. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom causes the extinction of the franchise's one true thrill. What's left is a twisted plot and cautionary tales we already knew.
Wow, that's what you got out of this? It's cautionary tales we already knew, and yet you don't listen. Huh. No, come on. What did you expect? Are you the only person who didn't look at the second trailer and thought this was legitimately going to be an all-island adventure?
So almost all the critics we hate gave bad reviews of this thing. Here's one of them. Rain Jokinen of mullingmovies.com. At this point in the seemingly never-ending Jurassic film franchise, it can safely be said that humans are idiots and they should just let the dinosaurs have the planet.
Well, okay. It's nice to know that your anti-humanist perspective on life isn't seeping into your commentary on film. Good for you, you nihilistic prick.
Chris Evangelista of Slash Film, somehow simultaneously better and worse than its predecessor.
Wow. How do you feel good about that sentence? It's not an inaccurate sentiment, but you really should articulate that better. There are things about this one that are better than Jurassic World. That said, it also doesn't pluck at the nostalgia strings the same way World did.
Rohan Nahar of the Hindustan Times. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is a new low for the iconic series. Extinction is the only cure.
Yeah, you clearly never saw Jurassic Park 3. You must have just not... That's the only logical explanation for that sentence. You simply were not aware of the existence of this film. That's it. That's the only thing. Other than, if you did see that and still had the gall to put forth that sentence, you are lying to yourself.
Christy Puchko of Pajiba. I did not think I could hate a Jurassic Park movie more than I hated the last Jurassic World. But here we are. Trevorrow found a way.
Yes, because your personal enjoyment is the totality of what we care about in critical analysis. Talk about the actual thing, not how much you liked or didn't like it necessarily. I just said I liked it, but there's problems with it. We went into those. Oh, boy, I didn't think I could hate this. I didn't think I could hate a Michael Bay film anymore. But boy, Transformers, Age of Extinction, that's not. How does that help anyone? Everyone hates those movies, except for Mark.
Mara Reinstein of US Weekly, top critic. All the heart-thumping familiarity should thrill longtime fans of this epic franchise. and frustrate anyone looking for a dynamic. Now, hang on. I got to read this to you, okay? She wrote.
I will hold off.
She wrote dynamic, and then in parentheses wrote DINO-MIC ? End parentheses. So that's
really?
Well,
this woman was paid for that.
The sentence reads, and frustrate anyone looking for a dynamic shakeup, but then she thought in her own cheeky manner, dynamic. Get it? Dino? Do you get it? Do you get it, Robert Winfrey? Dino for dinosaurs. Get it?
It's a homophone. No, this person should be fired. You should not feel good about having written that sentence. You should not feel good about any of that. I can almost imagine the smug smile on your face as you type that out. Oh, this is so clever. It's really not. I mean, could you not actually... Did your first pitch of, well, it's not exactly dynamite, spelled D-I-N-O, get shot down by an editor with at least a modicum of sense and good taste? So you went with that instead? What are you doing?
Thomas Laughley of Film School Rejects. J.A. Bayona's Fallen Kingdom is immensely more watchable than its predecessor, but it's still a pointless and visually exhausting chapter in a tired series.
Okay, I object to pointless. No, I mean, if anything, this is actually the first one of these movies that has actually done something different with the franchise by the time things close. By the end of this movie, the world is actually a significantly different place than it was when they started. Unlike Lost World, unlike Jurassic Park 3, unlike Jurassic World, actually, they significantly altered the world in a way that is only comparable to the emergence of genetic manipulation and cloning that came out of the first one.
Chris Stuckman of
it's really not pointless.
Chris Stuckman of ChrisStuckman.com.
More importantly, it made $700 million. Not pointless.
The film feels like a placeholder, like it was made just to make the next one.
Wow.
It's brilliant.
Really? It's almost like it's almost like Avengers Infinity War is just setting up for Infinity War Part 2.
Okay.
What do you expect? No. Of course they're trying to set up for more, but that doesn't mean it feels like a placeholder. If anything, it actually set up a theoretically more interesting sequel that won't actually be more interesting because they're going to botch it. But
Whitney Scheibold of Critically Acclaimed, the most aggressively idiotic film in the series to date.
No. No. I really cannot stress Jeff Goldblum wandering around a tropical island in all black with a black leather jacket on. Or, Jurassic Park 3. I mean, did these people they have to just not be aware of that movie's existence.
I would say
They really just cannot have... Someone has not shown them that movie. They just don't know it exists.
Christian Harloff, this idiot, of Schmoes Know. The movie was just okay. The military guys were so terrible, and everyone is so generic in it. You are the worst reviewer I've ever heard.
Yeah, those are poorly constructed sentences. Was this a writing project for an 8-year-old?
Yeah, I was like, that's how my daughter, who's going into second grade, kind of describes stuff.
I mean, all the military guys are terrible. In what way? I mean, they're the bad guys, so they're supposed to be terrible in one respect. Now, the generic complaint is not... It's not so much that they're generic as they are unfleshed out, which is not actually the same thing. You can have a unique, flat character rather than necessarily a generic flat character. And in this instance, I think he's conflating the two. He's mistaking two things because they just haven't covered polysyllabic words in the 8th grade yet, and he's just working on his multiplication tables. I mean, what the hell?
Here's our good friend Roger Moore of Movie Nation.
Oh God! No one has someone not hit this man with a fish yet?
Transformers dull. A summer bore that no matter how much it earns, fails to justify its existence.
Okay, let's start with a couple of things here. First of all, when you say no matter how much it earns, it fails to justify its existence, you're ignoring the actual point. That's like, I mean, he's probably heard one of our reviews where it won't justify its existence. Guess how much money it's going to make? That kind of does. Well, even if it makes money, it won't justify its existence. Neither does, there's any number of legitimate pieces of art that don't justify their existence either. It's just what you get out of it. I mean, I know someone who thinks Michelangelo's David is a waste of space.
So speaking of
Not
waste
a joke.
Speaking of waste of space.
But really, Roger Moore? Come on, man. And this is not nearly as dull as any of the Transformers movies. There's not a protracted sequence. Again, it slows down a bit in the middle. This is not a perfectly paced film. There's nothing as dull as the Transformers' failed assault on evil Stanley Tucci, or Stanley Tucci not being able to get rid of a bomb, or slow-motion Mark Wahlberg's wet hair flipping around his face as they charge across a floating island hoping for back... Really? You're going to compare this to somehow the most inane action sequences ever put to film? Come on. That's just inaccurate.
James Berardinelli of Real Views, top critic. Now, I want to stress that. This is a top critic. He gets the little star, and the yellow writing says top critic, okay? This is the creme de la creme. Best of the best. You ready?
Ugh.
You know how that other girl spelled dynamite?
Yes.
Just picture that in your head.
Yep.
Fallen Kingdom isn't dynamite, DINO-MYTE. It's Dino Doo-Doo.
Stop paying that man. Just seriously. Whatever you... Do not pay him for this review. Whatever you pay him on a salaried basis, deduct all the time and energy you put into that sentence from it. Take a full day's pay away from that man.
Eric D. Schneider of Crooked Marquee. Missing nearly everything that made the original so much fun 25 years ago.
Oh, God. I mean, this is such a stupid thing. That is such a stupid thing. I mean, first of all, just contemporary sensibilities are different. There's a reason if The Godfather were released today, it would get a bunch of mixed reviews. Just no one has the patience for it, which is sad and stupid, but the reality. Like, I mean, what exactly are you going to complain about here specifically that this was missing from the... I mean, the original, sure, it doesn't have Spielberg's flair. It doesn't have the... I forget who wrote that one. It's got a different writing team. It's not the same movie. It's not intended to be the same movie. Of course you're not going to have the same magic the first time you saw that, Brontosaurus walk onto screen. That's never going to be replicated. You'll never replicate the first time King Kong is revealed on screen. In that, 20s stop motion, when it was done in stop motion. Even though it was done like that, you're never going to replicate that. Everything you do is just it's a cheap imitation, and even though if you look back on that now, it looks kind of bad, you're still never going to replicate it. It's just... especially over that much time, no, there's only so much comparison that you can make to that.
It's going to get worse here. Felix Vasquez Jr. of Cinema Crazed. Audiences deserve so much better than this drivel.
No, they don't. Let's be clear about this. Audiences avoided, audiences complained about Solo. They complained about The Last Jedi. They flocked to a bunch of crappy Transformers movies. Let's be very, very clear. Audiences deserve exactly what they get.
Our friend Susan Granger of SSG Syndicate. Having lost its original awe and wonder, it's suspenseful yet somewhat stale, opening a window for future installments.
Of course, do you guys not understand how the mechanism for wonder works in the brain? that's not necessarily, you cannot necessarily replicate it with the same thing. I mean, there's a reason you say familiarity breeds contempt. The more you are exposed to something, the less you value it in the same way. I know people who have come out to, kind of where I live and look at the mountains and go, oh, wow, look at that. I mean, literally, it's my backyard. I have nowhere near the same sense of appreciation and perspective that they do. That's not a fair... You can't expect something to continue to inspire that same reaction in people. It's unrealistic. It just doesn't happen.
Stephen Whitty of the New York Daily News, top critic. If this is the best the Jurassic series can manage, it's the real endangered species.
No, it only opened on over like 5 days, made $700 million. Clearly on its last legs. What's the matter with you people? More importantly, again, this is not the worst of them. There was an entry so bad it killed the franchise for 10 years. Longer. Jeez, 15?
Kurt Loder of Reason Online. The dinosaurs are still clumping and snarling and hurling each other around, desperately attempting to distract us from the fact that digital dinos haven't actually been that big a deal for many years.
I mean, neither is IMAX filming. Neither have superheroes. Oh no! Look, superheroes. They're gonna do the 3-point landing. They're gonna fight each other. Buildings are gonna be destroyed. Like, yeah, these are kind of what plays in the genre.
Leonard Maltin of LeonardMaltin.com.
Why aren't you dead?
They're all out.
Old man, just die.
They're all out for this movie, man. Dinosaurs are dangerous and people are greedy. Got that? It's the foundation of Fallen Kingdom. And if that mantra sounds way too familiar and obvious, it's the answer to why this film isn't better. By the 2/3 mark, I was bored. Sounds like my son. I was bored.
Well, to be fair, this guy probably has the Bernie Sanders thing where he just wasn't getting enough pudding.
Matt Brunson of Creative Loafing. Stating that Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is the best of the sequels is a largely empty declaration, equivalent to opining that a Hostess Twinkie is the best of the largely inedible sugary snacks flooding the marketplace.
See, that's actually kind of fair.
You're a deeply unhappy person, Matt Brunson.
I mean, I don't know why he's picking on Twinkies. They're not the best of the offerings, even from Hostess, but... I mean, look, wars have been started over things slightly dumber than people arguing about which Hostess snack cake is the best, so I'm not going to get into it. But
Stephanie Zacharik of Time Magazine, top critic. Fallen Kingdom is so committed to thunderous spectacle that it fails to capture the poetry of these beasts and all their spiky, scaly, long-necked wonder. They deserve better.
Did you actually not see the deliberately, somewhat emotionally manipulative scene where that one got absorbed by lava while standing on the edge of the dock?
So,
I mean, you're just willfully ignoring the visual artistry here.
All right, I'm going to do this last one. It's not a rotten review. It's actually a fresh review, but it needs to be shared with the world.
It really doesn't. You're just encouraging these people.
Leah Sidney of Showbiz 411. Jurassic Park is melting in the dark, but Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard will save the day.
Weird Al should sue you. For those of you not aware, there is actually a parody song by Weird Al set to the tune of MacArthur Park that is about Jurassic Park.
And it's hilarious.
Weird Al. I mean, it's Weird Al, so you have to be in the right mood for it, but it's kind of funny. And somehow you are now ripping off a parody artist to make a headline. Do you feel good about yourself? Does your publication feel good about you? Like, these are important questions that we need to find out the answer to here.
Inquiring minds want to know. I want to know.
How do you sleep at night knowing you write this crap?
All right, speaking of writing this crap, next week, Robert and Ronnie Adams, presumably, will be joining me for a TV party tonight as we discuss Hail to the Chief, Season 2. No, Luke Cage, Season 2. More
Is that
concerts.
next week?
Yep. July 3rd.
Oh, then I have enough time. Then I can continue procrastinating.
Terrific. Then Robert and I are back for Ant-Man and the Wasp. We'll follow that up with Skyscraper. And then myself and who the hell knows. No, did you say yes to Voltron or no to Voltron? I don't remember.
I mean, if...
I need
Here's
somebody, and Cooper...
Hang on.
And Cooper may not be available.
Hang on, just let me explain this. If I say no, no one else is going to be able to do it. If I say yes, 4 other people are going to want to be on the show.
I'm just going to pencil you in and harass you.
I'm just saying, that's just how that works.
So anyway, Robert Winfrey and I...
Probably... It's crazy that I got stuck doing this for like 8 seasons after I was only on the first one because Cooper ran an hour and a half late.
Yeah, I know. And then now with his stupid work schedule, he's not really dependable.
Then look, stuff you actually get paid for. It happens. I get it.
I hear you.
It just amuses me greatly that somehow, because I was a good guy, and just like, oh, I don't want you to be on a show solo when I've actually seen this. Sure, I'll come and talk with you. Now you can... Eight, half seasons later or whatever we're dealing with. Like, so you're gonna be there with 5 other guys? Like, oh god.
So now you're roped into Voltron. Seasons 5 and 6, and then finally we end the month of July with Mission Impossible Mission Impossible Episode 6.
If Henry Cavill does not beat Tom Cruise to death in this movie, I'm going to be disappointed.
And then we proceed strong into August with Christopher Robin, The Meg, and then we do our summer wrap-up.
The Meg. It's going to be so bad. I can't wait.
On August 21st. In the meantime...
First time I'm genuinely looking forward to a bad movie on our schedule is The Meg.
So, check out our review of Salvation Run, Justice League America, Salvation Run on source material. Tomorrow, Jesse Starcher and I...
Have you done a sad show yet about that guy from Pantera croaking?
You mean Vinnie Paul? No.
I don't remember who, but someone.
We have not done a show about Vinnie Paul, no. But we did release one of our Metal Hammer of Doom extras where we reviewed the I'm Broken video, which is me and Jesse the whole time making fun of Phil Anselmo yelling that his mom's making meatloaf in the kitchen while he's in the basement practicing music.
All right.
You have to see the Unbroken video to get that.
I don't. I really don't. I'm not going to.
Anyway.
You and Pat did a Vader tribute, right?
Yes, we did.
I'm trying to set you up to plug your next thing.
I wish you'd let me do my plugs without the constant interruptions. But yes, we did do...
Yeah, well, you can wish in one hand and crap in the other.
Pat Mullen and I did do a Remembering Big Van Vader TV party tonight, so that was good. Tomorrow night on the Metal Hammer of Doom, Jesse Starcher and I will be reviewing the new Nine Inch Nails Bad Witch, or as I like to say, are you a good witch or a bad witch or a sandwich? But we're also going to look back at some really fun songs by Nine Inch Nails because Jesse's not all that familiar with the band. Check out our Metal Hammer of Doom extras, especially the one we did for Pinion and Wish. Pinion. That's a great video. Have you ever seen it?
No, I don't watch music videos. I don't really... music is not the gateway to my soul necessarily. Same way it is with a lot of you people.
Well, if you have time for just like a minute to 2 minutes of your life that you need to throw away, watch go YouTube the video for Pinion. It's hysterical. Next week we've got.
I'd rather. This is Mr. Burns with the $10. I'd rather keep the money.
Terrific. Next week we've got Luke Cage, Sins of the Father on source material. Myself and Robert Winfrey and Ronnie Adams will be reviewing Luke Cage Season 2. And then because it's July 4th, we're going to celebrate the most American rock and roll artist in the history of music, Kid Rock. Metal Hammer of Doom reviews Kid Rock's Sweet Southern Sugar, because he, folks, is the American badass. And it's July 4th, Independence Day, if you will.
I can't believe you're putting someone through that.
I love Kid Rock. Source material's got Ant-Man Volume 1, Second Chance Man, as we already said, Ant-Man and the Wasp. And then Metal Hammer of Doom reviewing reggae metal band Skindred. Big tings. Big tings, Robert Winfrey. Big tings. So, that's it for me. Go ahead and plug your stuff, and let's get out of here.
How exactly does one ting bigly? Like that's not really an object that can therefore be enhanced with big.
Well, tings are big. We got big tings coming up here on the Red Religion Broadcasting Network. Big tings.
No, we have no tings. Those are not things. That's loosely an onomatopoeia.
We have
not
lots
really
of. Are you kidding me? We have lots of tings.
If you have a collection of, again, what are those? That doesn't make sense. That's barely a word.
No, look. There's a lot of tings going on here on the Red Religion Broadcasting Network. We've got big tings. We've got small tings. We've got a lot of tings.
I have never seen any of those.
Well, just because you won't. Really? How much longer is this bit going to go on?
I don't know what bit you're referring to.
All right, folks. That's Robert Winfrey.
Hang on. Since I was able to get you to blink first, metaphorically.
I want to go to bed.
That helps. All right, the last two episodes of the 411 Ground and Pound radio show have been just me, because they were both about a show that no one cared about. So you can listen to those. This coming Sunday, we should have the full panel back. We have a double preview. We'll be previewing the finale of The Ultimate Fighter Season 27, because that show just won't die. Thankfully, ESPN has not picked it up. So in 2019, apparently, when the UFC moves from Fox and their associated networks to ESPN, and the majority of that will apparently be on their crappy streaming service, does not seem that the Ultimate Fighter is coming with them, so we can all celebrate the long overdue demise of this show. This is that kid from The Simpsons. Stop, it's already dead. But we will have to preview that finale show, which is not good. It's really not good. But it leads into International Fight Week, so that will be your Friday card, and then Saturday we have UFC 226. Which is, the UFC's really hoping on this one. The main event is the fight between two champions. We have heavyweight champion Stipe Miocic going for his record. He's already got the record, actually, to continue his record of, seriously, the record. He has it for most consecutive heavyweight title defenses in UFC history at a whopping 3. He's going for number 4, as Daniel Cormier, the light heavyweight champion, returns to the heavyweight division and is trying to become the second man in UFC history to be a concurrent UFC champion in different weight classes. I don't care about that fight all that much, in all honesty. But apparently some people do. Mark, do you care about that fight?
I don't even know what fight we're talking about.
Miocic and Cormier.
Oh, yeah, I'll probably watch it.
You're significantly more interested in the impending announcement of Jones and Lesnar, aren't you?
No, leave Brock Lesnar alone.
No, he wants to fight. Jones wants to fight him. Cormier wants to fight him. Stipe wants to fight him.
I don't think Brock Lesnar should fight any of those people.
Of course not. You want him to fight CM Punk.
Yeah.
Because you're a terrible person.
I'll settle for Bobby Lashley.
Nah, Lashley doesn't have a provision to actually compete in MMA.
I'll settle for Batista.
Nope, Batista not fighting anymore. Had one, that was enough. Care to keep trying?
That was a terrible fight, by the way. How about Bob Sapp?
No, he's dead.
Did he really die?
I don't know. I assume.
Alexa.
He's dead to the sport, if nothing else.
Is Bob Sapp still alive?
Bob Sapp is still alive. He is 44 years old.
Woohoo!
I don't know why you're celebrating this.
Hooray for Bob Sapp. You lived another year.
Bob Sapp's continued existence doesn't strike me as something worth celebrating on a humanitarian level.
Poor Bob Sapp.
The co-main event is the fight I'm genuinely most looking forward to on this card, and the fight I'm most looking forward to that's been announced for the rest of the year to this point. Max Holloway and Brian Ortega for the featherweight strap. Oh, that'll be good. I mean, Mark, you have to buy this pay-per-view because next on that list is Francis Ngannou and Derek Lewis.
Oh, that's black on black crime.
Yeah, watch it go 3 really dull rounds.
Are you done yet?
Gokhan Saki fights Khalil Roundtree Jr. because God hates me, and at least it should be fast. Come on, Gokhan Saki's fighting.
God bless you.
You don't need. How do you not know? You know who Gokhan Saki is. Don't give me that.
It's 11 o'clock. Family Guy starting.
Well, then I should keep you here for another half hour. At least
Oh my God!
That is Family Guy. So anyway, this coming Sunday, that show will be going live. We'll be breaking down both of those cards, giving our thoughts, our predictions. We might talk a little bit about major MMA news, if anything else, major breaks. We'll talk about Rashad Evans retiring probably because I didn't get a chance to touch on that. So you can tune in for that. And then, again, Mark touched on all the other things I'll be doing over the next couple of weeks. So I hope to see you all here, and I will talk about why I hate black people when we talk about Luke Cage Season 2.
Well, let's not get any better than that.
At least Mark will continue to accuse me of racism, and I will continue to just sigh and calmly and rationally explain that I hate everything. It's not unique to anyone.
Yeah, you know what I have to say to that?
Ooh, cut to a sound bit. Cut to a sound bit that I can talk over. Come on!
You've successfully done that, thanks.
Victory. All right. So for Mark Radulich, I'm Robert Winfrey. Thank you all very much for tuning in and dealing with our nonsense on a regular basis. Again, next week is our Luke Cage Season 2 review. Until then, please continue to be well, be safe, and behave.